Alright guys, today we're going to talk a little mechanics, go over some of the things we went over last week, mainly dealing with aggressive lower half. We'll talk about contact position when we get there, how we want our lower half to be, as well as a few other things. So we got four guys here, two righties, two lefties. Up the left we got our very own Ian Kinsler, then we got J.Upton below him back when he was with the D-backs. Top right, we got Gonzales back with the Padres a couple years ago, and then we got Joe Mauer down bottom right. First thing we want to do is we want to get these guys to heel plant. Take a look at that. Okay, this is a position we're going to spend more time with everybody on this year, going over the mechanics of it, how we want to get there, how we want to be balanced, and with these four guys, as you can see, all in pretty similar positions. Let's go back a little bit to stance. Okay, each of them are very different. Okay, you got Ian, who's a little bit taller, a little more narrow, kind of similar to Gonzales in that. Ian's hands are back a little farther than Gonzales. You got Upton, who's very spread out, and then you got Mauer, like Coach Shea said last week, is kind of your prototypical. If you could draw it up a certain way, he would be kind of the guy. But very different in their stances. Okay, they're all doing kind of their unique thing. Then that changes a little bit when they get the heel plant. All pretty similar. Just a few things here we want to point out. Okay, first thing, we'll look at the bat angle. Get that off there. Straight line. Okay, bat angle. Oh. Alright, one more time. Bat angle. There we go. Okay. So all four of them want to point this out. The angle of their bat. Okay. You don't see any of them with the bat straight up and down, straight vertical. Okay, you don't see any of them that are wrapping it real far over their head, but the thing that is consistent is they all have a little bit of that angle of the bat. What that's going to allow them to do is use gravity in their favor when they go to swing. Okay, you have to have a little bit of angle with your bat. Also in this stance, in this heel plant position, only other thing I want to point out real quick is the angle of the back leg. Okay, most notably that their back leg is starting to engage in this position. They're balanced. Okay, they got their weight about 50-50, which is something we'll talk about quite a bit in the cages. When you get to this position, you got to be 50-50, ready to fire, but can't be overly committed. But at the same time, your back leg has to be starting to engage. Okay, you're starting to fire that thing. Not fully fired, okay, but you're starting to engage it. Okay. Alright, get that off here. Let's get to contact point, because that is where we'll go from here to contact. Okay, and you can see from there the back leg has obviously engaged quite a bit more. Okay, they fired it. Okay, the thing I do want to point out is that all four of these pitches are in different locations. Okay, which you'll see when we get to swing plane here in a little bit, but Upton's got a pretty good pitch about mid-thigh. Okay, Mauer's got a high pitch, a little above his belt. Gonzales is working about mid-thigh, and then Ian's actually got one that's below his knees. Okay, he's got a low pitch. But what you'll see is they're all using the legs in very similar fashion. A couple things I want to point out here. Okay, first of all, okay, firm front. Firm front. Firm front leg. Front leg is locked out. Okay, we pointed this out the last week with those pictures, but to overemphasize it here, you can see there's no bend in the front leg on any one of those four guys. They are locked out. What's that telling you? Well, it's telling you their backside is firing against their front side. The force they're generating with their back leg is going into their front. It's not going over it. It's not going past it. It is actually rotating into their front side. We'll do one more thing here and we'll see how that works. Okay, the other thing to point out in this position, you guys have probably all seen this before, was their angle of their back leg. Okay. Take a look at each of them. I don't know if we quite have any that their foot is off the ground, but they're all pretty close. Look at their back foot, and you can see that they're all up on their toe with their shoelaces pointing towards the pitcher. 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 And then the back leg took a look at the angle. I don't know if you realized it, but in the picture before, when we froze at heel plant, the angle was about 150 for each guy. Okay, they were starting to engage it. They weren't fully engaged, they were starting to engage it. Here, closer to right around 100. Okay, they're firing that thing. Also, look at the distance between their knees at this position. Some are a little more than others, but the thing to realize is they've closed that gap as the swing has gone on. Okay, we're going to go back a little bit. Okay, we're at toe touch right now. Let's get the heel plant. Boom. Okay. Each of them in this position, you can see the front knee is still a little bent. It's still a little bent. Still some give in that thing. What I want you to watch is how they get into contact point from here. Front leg is going to lock out as the back leg drives towards it. When we talk about generating force from the ground up, this is a prime example of it. All four of these guys. They're from the ground up. They're taking the power they're generating from their back leg, they're generating it into their front leg as that thing's pushing against the back leg. So you're building from the ground up. You're storing that energy in your legs, and you're building from the ground up and delivering all that force into your back. Okay, there might be a little bit of a higher end concept for you guys to grasp, and most of you do a decent job of this already, but we can all improve upon it. There's more power with each one of you. Okay. Alright, let's see, we want to go, we're going to do a couple more things here. All this off there, grasp on that. We're going to go to the bat lag position. Okay, this is something we have not talked about yet, the bat lag position. Okay, basically what that means is you're starting to deliver your barrel into the zone. What we're going to do with each one of these guys is we're going to trace their barrel, into the barrel, as it makes its way through the hitting zone. And what we're looking for, how long the bat is in the zone. Basically, how much room for error do they have to make solid contact? Okay, they don't have to be perfect with their timing because their bat is going to be in the zone for a long time. Which I hope most of you realize that is something each one of you can be better at. The longer you're in the zone, the more room for error you have. Obviously it's ideal to have great timing, but that's the hardest thing in hitting to do. So we want to give ourselves as much of a chance to make good contact as possible. Therefore we want to be in the zone for as long as we possibly can. There's Ian. You can see the location of his pitch a little better now that we got that on there. So it's low, below the knee. We got Upton about mid-thigh with his pitch. Got Gonzales, which is right around knee height. And we got Maurer, who's actually got a pitch up in the zone. I think all four of these are actually from the same game, believe it or not. I think they're from the All-Star game in St. Louis a few years back. Okay, we'll go back. So we're going through a swing here, slow-mo, toe touch, heel plant, backside's engaging, and they get to bat lag, boom, there. The other thing, I'll take it back a few steps, I want you guys to take notice of, is when we talk about attacking the inside of the ball. Okay, attacking the inside of the ball. When you do that, your hands have to be delivered from inside to out, meaning they have to start close to your body and go out to the ball, as opposed to getting away from your body and going to the ball, which is going to create a long swing. So for a short swing and attacking the inside of the ball, you have to start with your hands coming close to the body. So take a look at each one of those guys, and the thing to take notice of is the back elbow for each one. It's basically going to fire into the rib cage of each one of them. And what that's going to do is allow them to stay inside the ball, no matter where the pitch location is at. It does not matter. They're going to attack the inside part of the ball, and then what we'll see is how long they're going to be in the zone. So from the back of that line behind them to the end of the line, their bat is pretty much in the hitting zone that entire time. Okay, so they can make contact there, 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 and still be able to at least get a piece of it. If you're on either one of those extremes, Okay, you're either probably going to be fouling it in either one of the dugouts, whether you're late or early. Okay, but anything in between that, they can make pretty good contact there. They can make pretty good contact there. They can make pretty good contact there. Okay, so that's what we want to get. We want to be in the zone for a long time. All right. Very last thing to point out. Okay, very last thing to point out. Get this off. There's one last thing, and I actually could have talked about this at heel plant, but didn't. We want to check head movement. Okay. Oh, circle. There we go. Okay. Okay, these guys get. Oh, there we go. Come on, man. So my record's done. Well, that's alright. Okay, when they get to heel plant position, watch how little their head moves from there. Okay, and actually we'll go back to stance, take a look. Because they don't all start with their head in the position they're going to end up in when they swing. But what I want you to take notice of is when their head gets to the position they're in at heel plant, which is right, and really toe touch for the most part. Okay, so toe touch to heel plant. Watch how little their head moves. Pretty much stays there until after contact all three of them. Okay, if you're using your lower half the right way, you have a firm front side, okay, and you're not drifting over that front side, you can do this. And obviously this is going to let you keep your eye on the ball, okay, see it better, okay, keep your head down, which is something we'll work on for each of you. Alright, but just another little thing we'll point out on each of you. Alright, I'm sure Coach Jay's stopped me at 5 different points throughout this, so you can point out certain